Welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled, chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a wagon full of craft brew on the side. A whole goddamn wagon.
That sounds like enough.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate, and on this episode, we are making our way through chapter 32 of Blood of the Fold, and hopefully into that wagon, because that would be swell.
That's the way I want to travel.
And then, that's what's best about it. Now it's on wheels. Take it with you.
Yeah.
You can't drink and drive, but I have a feeling if you were just, like, on a horse with a wagon full of beer, then that rule doesn't necessarily apply?
Well, I mean, I feel like there's another person who drives. I will just appoint myself the supervisor of the brew wag, and
the brew wag.
And I will hang out back there and make sure that as much needs to get to the next destination gets there.
And not an ounce more, right? Look here, I'm commandeering this beer wagon. Just keep doing your thing. I'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm ready to get into it. How about you, JD?
Yeah, man.
Fantastic.
I'm enjoying my drink, and I'm ready to talk about a story.
Yeah, them fuckers are good.
Yeah.
And you got me thinking about beer again. See, that's where we get off track.
Yeah.
Is I'm down here, and I'm fully prepared to just talk about book stuff, and then you just keep tempting me with beer, and it's too good to not look away.
I'll take responsibility for that. I probably do cause a lot of the detours. So.
As if I don't do it right back to you either. All right. Well, this chapter opens up with Kahlan. Kahlan!
Oh, hey!
Remember her? She's the
Vaguely.
girl, woman, I should say, from last book.
Yeah, we've talked about her a lot.
Yeah. Main character of the series.
Not
totally absent so far.
Not in this book, though.
We did do a little bit of looking around, and we found out that Kahlan's name is mentioned right around 630 times in the book in total.
Total, yeah.
And we're over halfway. So that means Kahlan has yet to be in the book, and we've heard her name mentioned almost 400 times.
Yeah, and some stuff bleeds together, so we were trying to remember if we had seen Kahlan or if the last time we had seen her was in the last book. We pretty much decided, after some looking and trying to verify this, that the last time we saw her was after her fun night with Richard, and that was last book, end of last book, so this bitch has not been around at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, first person.
Yeah.
Written from Kahlan's it's an overlooking viewpoint, but they follow certain people. And we haven't had a quote-unquote Kahlan chapter since then.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Nailed it. So, yeah, it's Kahlan. And she is jumping from a moving wagon, rolling through snow amid falling rocks and boulders to assist a screaming soldier. So she sounds like she's doing great.
The most. I feel like it's heroic, but I also feel like maybe wait till things settle. Like, more people are going to be injured if you're moving during the middle of the rock fall.
We don't know, like, that's literally the first 2 lines of the chapter. So we don't really know what's happening. We know I kind of thought it was like a battle. Like, there's shrapnel, there's stuff going wrong around her, which is true. But yeah, it is amid falling rock and boulders. So, in that situation, which I guess we really don't know what the situation is. Kahlan is an important person, but her and assuming Zedd are like the leaders of whatever group they're with. So Richard gets protected a lot, and he's told, like, no, you gotta stay back and let us deal with it. He doesn't listen. Kahlan, we know she wouldn't listen either. So, yeah, no, this makes perfect sense for Kahlan to do this.
Yeah, they all three do this. Like, there's a million people who could go out to the front lines first or, like, check something out, but they always have to be the people right there. It's a high-risk situation every time.
So, as Kahlan and the other soldiers try to lift the wagon off of Stevens, that's what I'm saying. Kahlan, I know you're strong and powerful and all that, but, like, we've got 8 of these 400-pound Daharan dudes who can just pick that right up. It's not a problem. Anyways, as they try to lift the wagon off of Stevens, that's the injured soldier.
The guy who was screaming.
Yeah, he's trapped underneath. He just screams louder. So she orders the ever-helpful Orsk to lift it just a little and then hold it in place.
Because he's stronger than, like, everybody around him.
Yeah, he's the 600-pound, 9 foot tall. Yeah.
Everybody else is Ebonician.
Yeah, that's true. No, well, exactly. We got a guy.
Yeah.
For that. Do it, man. Which has got to suck because that's not even, hey, lift this up and hold in a fully stretched out position. You got to be like halfway. Your back has to be fully into something like that. And then you just hold. It's like doing wall sits. You ever do wall sits?
I have.
They're the worst.
Not long.
No, not long. That's my point. He doesn't know how long this is going to go on for. That'd be torture.
He doesn't care. It's for Kahlan. He doesn't care. But
that's true.
The louder screaming as you're trying to lift something off of somebody always screams trouble. Like,
yeah, right away. Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Shit. Something is bad now, guys. Like, this is not going to be an easy, like, all right, let's just get going down the road, guys.
Yeah.
type thing. This is going to be a night now.
It's like our Jeep breaking down. Maybe this is a little more serious than we thought. Sad. Anyways, Kahlan also starts screaming for anybody, someone, anyone, go find Zedd.
Get that motherfucker here now.
Yeah. So Kahlan sits there with him, this soldier, Stevens, holding his hand, touching his face, reassuring him that he's gonna be okay, which is hard to do. A couple of years ago, Jade and I were picking up our son, and we were near a highway exit, and as we passed the exit, we saw this flash of steel, and there was a guy who had just, I don't remember if he hit the car or the car hit him. I guess it's not really the point. The point is that he wasn't wearing a helmet, and he bashed his face really hard on the ground. And so I parked the car and went to the guy and called 911, and they told me to hold him still, make sure that he doesn't try to move because he could have internal damage. Talk to him, tell him he's going to be fine. And, I mean, I don't want to get too gruesome, but the dude had a hole in his head. So, like...
I don't want to get too gruesome.
Well, I mean, you can say that he's got a hole in his head. I don't have to go into detail about the size, but it looked pretty fucking serious to me. And I felt like I was lying to him. Like, people don't come back from that. And actually, he's fine.
Yeah, because he did. Like,
it took a long time, but the guy's okay.
Yeah, Kahlan is lying to see. She doesn't know.
No, not yet.
But he's fine. He's messaged us a few times and been like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I didn't do shit. I was sitting in the car with the kids.
You had to watch the children too. We were in the middle of the city, so. But no, that's a hard thing to do, and Kahlan wasn't planning on that either. It's kind of just a shock to your system. Things were going fine, and then all of a sudden they're really not.
But she does have a little bit of experience in doing this with soldiers on, like, the last leg, or having a rough time, because the soldiers that she was with, these guys actually, that she was with originally when they went after the Imperial Order, she had to sit with and, like, calm some of them through that shit before. So she knows how powerful just, like, her presence is because of who she is, I think.
Yeah, because they look up to her.
Yeah. Plus, she's, like, a womanly figure, and they're all probably missing their moms and girlfriends and shit.
Oh,
Also.
definitely.
There's, like, a whole lot of stuff going on, I'm sure.
So as Zedd approaches, he also jumps from his moving mount and ignites a ball of flame in his hand to help everybody see. Just a real small point, and this is going to be reiterated here in a couple of notes. We know that you're supposed to be careful while it's dark, according to Goodkind and the last 2 books, because you can roll an ankle or whatever. We just know that it's not safe. Yet, it's dark, and the wagon thing happens, and I have a theory about that. She jumped from the wagon, but she may have been kind of thrown from the wagon. If things were going the way I think they were. We'll get to that later. But, like, people are running horses, jumping, taking running stops, and it's dark, and we know that they don't have any light, and it just seems really dumb. Like, why is everybody doing these superhero landings when they're just like, no, be careful. There's tree roots and shit.
Now, Zedd jumping off the horse is, I think, a different level, because he's rushing to get to the screaming and Kahlan and all of that going on, right? So he's, like, sense of urgency. Before, Kahlan jumping off could have had a sense of urgency / just, like, reckless abandon, whatever, or being thrown. But I agree that it is curious, just to, we can get into it in here in a minute, but just the speed and way that they're traveling at night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's obviously a problem. I guess that's what I was referring to here in a little bit. We do find out that they are hauling ass during the nighttime because of Kahlan's orders, which is, they're just breaking the rule left and right, I guess, with reckless abandon.
Yeah, and it's one thing to travel by night, but it's another to be going fast, like, because if they hadn't been going at fairly breakneck speeds, I would think that tapping... I mean, I guess it also depends on... We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
But I guess, I mean, that is the main problem. Because they were going so fast, they hit this piling timber, which is something like a log that holds back falling rock from the road. The rock comes down, it smashes the wagon, and it, unfortunately, stabs Stevens with a wheel spoke. It went wrong very quickly. So I get the urgency thing. But what you were saying is it's not an all-the-time thing about why they're jumping from horses like superheroes
they
and
shouldn't
cowboys.
be doing it all the time. Yeah, right, exactly.
Right.
Like, Zedd, I could give excuse to, but everybody else should be...
Because he was in a hurry.
Yeah, everybody else should be going a little bit slower, because, I guess...
Same with motorcycle guy. I ran. I don't run, typically. I know I should, but I don't. And so that was a struggle, but I ran, because you do. In situations like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess depending on the piling timber, maybe it wasn't very secure. Maybe it just needed to be wiggled a little bit to come out. But I don't know. I feel like that would all factor in.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't know how hard he hit it either.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they hit it and somebody is now dead. Kahlan doesn't realize that right away. She's holding his hand and telling him he's going to be okay. And then Zedd is suddenly apologizing for not being able to heal him. Kahlan's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then realizes that she's hanging on to him harder than he was holding her. Because his grip had gone limp, right? But she's still squeezing his hand.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
And, like, the thing about that is that she knows what death feels like, too. Because of another layer. She knows the look of it. She knows the feel of it because there's a death spell on her right now. And she can feel that.
Yeah, which is weird. I hadn't thought about that either until they brought it up.
Yeah, and I think the thing that was weird to me is that she compares it to a stray hair tickling your face that you can't seem to brush away.
Like a veil.
Yeah, but it's just a teeny tiny little minor nuisance. Like, it's really not that bad to have a little death in you.
But it's like around her. She's not dying. It's just like death.
It's just there.
Yeah.
Little reminder.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, as a man with long hair, I get it. So
just a little bit annoying. Not a big deal. But I do think, like, Stevens, he probably would have been fine had they not lifted the wagon. Because that, maybe not fine, but with a wizard there, Zedd probably could have fixed the puncture, right?
Yeah.
But then them lifting him on that spoke probably is what did him in.
I mean, it wouldn't have made the situation any better. It would have opened up whatever kind of wound he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel like I remembered this. Like, once I read it, I was like, oh shit. I have, like, visceral remembrances of this scene. Like, because it's weird. Like, it's I don't know. It's intense to imagine somebody impaled like that.
Since Stevens can no longer feel any pain, Zedd uses magic to help lift the wagon and help the men, like, remove his body from underneath, because I'm sure that's not great. Seeing to it that he gets the best possible burial, because they're in a